Alright, brackets have been released. Selection Sunday is upon us, and I'm looking at the bracket for the first time. Everything you see will be my initial reaction to the bracket. So I'm excited to just jump right into it and see what we got. So the one seeds look pretty good. I mean, we got Villanova, Kansas, Gonzaga, and what to say here? North Carolina. So, I mean, those make sense. Gonzaga deserves it. They only lost one game all year. Their whole body of work was great. Villanova won their Big East tournament, only lost 3 games. You got to make them the number 1 overall seed. Kansas, great body of work. Unfortunately, didn't win their conference tournament, but they played great all year, so you got to make them a 1. And then North Carolina didn't win their conference tournament either, but again, the regular season was just really good. And they played in a tough conference. ACC is definitely the toughest conference this year, so they deserve it. They deserve a 1 seed. So I was gonna talk about the 2 seeds, but I'm just gonna go by. I'm just gonna tell you who I think is the top 4 teams in each region, and we'll go from my Sweet 16 on, and I'll then reveal my national champion. So you'll see. So see what we got in the East. We got Villanova, Duke, Baylor, Virginia, or Florida is a 4 and Virginia is a 5. All right, so my top 4 out of this one: Villanova, Duke, obviously, SMU. A lot of people are surprised, and UVA. Villanova obviously won't have a problem getting there. They play the 16, 8 and 9, so they'll win. UVA, they're going against UNC Wilmington. They could lose that game, but they play really good defense, so I think they do their job there in the first 2 rounds. If they do play Florida in the second round, then I mean that could be a good game, but I think they pull it out. And then we got Duke. They're gonna get there fairly easily, and then SMU. I have them beating Baylor, who's the number 3 seed, but I like the way SMU plays. They just won their conference tournament, so they're playing really good basketball. So those are my top 4 in the East. So what do we got in the West? Like I said, Gonzaga. I knew the 1 seeds. That's as far as I know. So this is all new to me outside of the 1 seeds. Arizona is the 2. I like that. Florida State 3. And West Virginia 4. Notre Dame 5. Maryland 6. Okay. So just by looking at it, my top 4 would probably have to be Gonzaga, Arizona definitely, Florida State, and we'll go with West Virginia. We'll go chalk. We'll go top 4 in that region. Gonzaga is a really good team. I think they get there no problem to the Sweet 16. Arizona's playing great basketball, probably the best in the country. They just beat Oregon to win the Pac-12, and Pac-12 is very underrated this year, so Arizona's looking good. Florida State's obviously looking good. They got some great players on their team. They are in that 3 seed. And then West Virginia, not a lot of people talking about them, but they'll show why they're a 4 seed for sure. I've seen them play before this year, and they're nice. They're a good team. So yeah, so what do we got? Oh, Midwest. That's what we're going to next. So we got Kansas in this region, Louisville 2, Oregon 3, okay, and Purdue 4, okay. That's a good region. Kansas, I got them advancing, obviously, 2, and then I got Louisville, Oregon, and then Purdue. So I'm going to go chalk in this one too, just the top 4 seeds in this region. I have them all advancing to the Sweet 16. Purdue could face a little hiccup against either Iowa State or Nevada. Those both are really good teams. That's going to be a good game to watch in the first round. It could be an upset, but I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa State won. And then Oregon's going to have a tough game against Creighton. Creighton's a really good team. they got to the Big East championship game, and even though they didn't challenge Villanova in the championship game, they got good players, so that should be a good game. So yeah, I got chalk in that one, and then last one we got is the South. Whoa, okay, North Carolina. No, this region is insane. What? Okay, I'm just gonna tell you guys. North Carolina is the 1, Kentucky's the 2, UCLA's the 3, and Butler's the 4, Minnesota the 5. The top 3 in this region are insane. How they put that? Okay, sorry guys. This is crazy. So obviously my top 3, or top 4 would be North Carolina, Kentucky, UCLA. Those are all insanely good teams. I would have thought UCLA would have got a 2, but so we got UNC, Kentucky, UCLA, and then I'm gonna go with a toss up between Butler and Minnesota. Those are both our really good teams. Minnesota came on at the end of the year. Butler's a good team too. They beat Villanova twice this year, and they had experience in this tournament. So between that Minnesota and Butler, I want to go with Butler. So then my top 4 would be North Carolina, Butler, Kentucky, and UCLA. A lot of this bracket is chalk, I'm not going to lie to you guys. These are really good teams this year, and there will be upsets, like I'm saying. I'm not saying there won't be, but I don't see any of those upsets happening to the teams I picked. None of the 1 or 2 seeds, but we'll see. I mean, it's March Madness, so Sweet 16. We'll go back up, and I'll knock it down to my Elite 8. Villanova plays Virginia. They played a really good game this year. Villanova won by 2, last second tip-in. I'm going to go with Villanova here on this one, and then SMU and Duke. Should be a really good game. I got Duke winning though, so there's that. They both advanced to the Elite 8, and then I got Gonzaga beating West Virginia and Arizona beating FSU. Arizona, like I said, is probably one of my favorite teams coming into this tournament, just by the way they're playing. They got Trier back, their point guard, and he's one of the best guards in the nation, so I like the way Arizona's playing. So I got them both advancing to the Elite 8. And then I got Kansas beating Purdue and Oregon beating Louisville. So Oregon-Louisville game, if that does happen, that's going to be one of the better games this whole tournament. They're both pretty evenly matched in terms of offensive firepower. So I got Oregon winning that game against Louisville. So Kansas and Oregon advanced to Elite 8 in that region. Then UNC and Butler. I got North Carolina winning. They have a bunch of returning players. Justin Jackson's one of the players of the year. And then Kentucky and UCLA, I got Kentucky winning. That's going to be a good game, because they played each other earlier this year. That was Lonzo Ball's coming out party. He kind of took the nation by storm after that game. So that's going to be a really good game. Kentucky's going to want revenge, so I think they pull that one out. Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, I think they lock him down. That's going to be a good game. It's got a lot of NBA talent in that game for sure. So I got North Carolina and Kentucky in that one, in that region. Moving on. So back to my Elite 8, knock it down to the Final 4. We got Villanova Duke. This game's tough. I'm going to go with Villanova, just in terms of they have great coaching. This is going to be a greatly coached game. Jay Wright and Mike Krzyzewski are both top 2 coaches in the nation. Mike Krzyzewski was out for a majority year with after he stepped away for a little bit. But Villanova Duke, I'm giving the slight edge to Villanova. That might be that could go either way. I'm gonna go with Villanova though. And then in the West, Gonzaga and Arizona. You probably know this one the way I was talking about Arizona. I'm gonna go with Arizona in this game. Nothing against Gonzaga. I just think Arizona just is catching fire at the right time, and they're just going to keep rolling, and Gonzaga's just going to run into a buzzsaw, and it's not going to be, they'll have nothing to be ashamed about this season. They they deserve everything they got this year. Almost an undefeated season, so Gonzaga unfortunately loses that one, but Arizona moves on to face Villanova in the Final Four. And then back up to the West, we got Kansas and Oregon. I got Kansas winning. They got returning players like Frank Mason, and then you had their star freshman Jackson, and yeah, they're a good team. They're super good. I'm gonna go with Kansas in that, so they get to the Final Four again, or not again. They didn't. They lost in the Elite Eight last year to Villanova. That's right. So they get to the Final Four, and then North Carolina and Kentucky. I think Kentucky wins it. I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for this because North Carolina's a super good team with Justin Jackson. So yeah, they're a good team. Kentucky's got Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Adebayo, Briscoe. I don't know. I think that game is gonna be close too. This is the hard part. Once I get into these games, it's like picking straws with these, but it's tough. I'm gonna go with Kentucky though. So in the Final Four, we got Wildcat versus Wildcat, Villanova versus Arizona. This game's tough because I love Villanova. They were my team last year. They're one of my favorite teams this year, and then Arizona. They just beat Gonzaga, which is one of the best teams in this tournament. But I'm gonna give the edge to Villanova. Just in terms of the players they have returning, veteran leadership, Josh Hart, possible player of the year. I gotta go with Villanova on that. That's gonna be a good game. I can't wait for that one. If that happens, that's gonna be nice. And then Kansas and Kentucky. I'm gonna go with Kentucky just in terms of players and the players they got. Like I mentioned before, they're really good players. I think they carry them a good amount, like what Julius Randle did with Kentucky, carrying them to the championship game. I think that's what happens again with Monk and Fox. And then the championship game, the Wildcat championship game, Villanova Wildcats, Kentucky Wildcats. I got Villanova winning. I just think since the beginning of the year, I always thought they had potential to get back. They've done nothing this year to prove me wrong. I think they got a really good chance to repeat. Kentucky will have gotten this far, but I think them being young and them kind of slowing it down on defense, kind of letting people go. You can't let this Villanova team go on offense because sometimes they can catch fire and you can be down by 20 before you know it. So, and Villanova, they always play sound defense in the tournament, so I think they do some stuff. They make adjustments to stop some of the Kentucky players that'll be hot in this tournament. So I got Kentucky losing to Villanova 68-76, and Villanova repeats as back-to-back champions. So I'm gonna put this away, and but yeah, that's my tournament. Just outlook from initial reaction. Like I said, the South region, that's an insane division. UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina. Whoever comes out of that region has a good chance of just getting to the championship game, regardless of what Kansas and the other teams do in the West. Whoever comes out of the South division the South region is going to be good. But like I said, I was talking about my championship predictions, but there's going to be some upsets. There always is. I didn't talk about them as much. I didn't have any of the 2 seeds or 1 seeds losing early. 3 and 4 could fall eventually, but I'm pretty sure they advance. There's not going to be any monumental upsets early, I don't think. But we'll see. Like it's March Madness, so it's probably gonna happen. I could be wrong. But I think the teams that are in now are pretty good. The selection committee did a good job in terms of getting the teams that deserve to be in. Seeding was a little weird. I was watching the selection show, and they were talking about how they didn't want conference opponents facing each other in the first round. It really shouldn't matter, but I mean, it is what it is. So you just gotta take it on the chin. Syracuse didn't get in. They had a bunch of good wins against top teams, and the committee just felt that they didn't. They had really bad losses, and that kind of stopped them from getting in. Plus, an early exit in the ACC tournament didn't help their causes. They got in last year when they probably shouldn't have, but maybe that was the case. Maybe that's why they didn't get in. But like I said, I'm happy with the overall teams that got in. The seeding is really interesting. When I saw that South region, it's crazy. I'm still thinking about that. I don't even know who's gonna get out of that division. But it's gonna be a good tournament. Hopefully Villanova repeats. That's my team. Got my banner up there. Hopefully we can repeat as national champions. I'm gonna be hoping. I'm gonna be. They're in the Buffalo region. Go to college in Buffalo. So I mean, might be fate. I don't know. Maybe not. But we'll see. Should be a good tournament. Get your brackets. Fill them out. Have fun. Fill them out whichever way you want to. Coin flip. Mascot bracket. Do whatever you gotta do. Enjoy the tournament. It's going to be interesting. Do your research if you want. Although sometimes March Madness research doesn't even help you. But enjoy the tournament. It's a great tournament. It's my favorite time of the year. And hopefully your bracket doesn't look as bad as mine by the end of the year. And you just enjoy some good college basketball. Alright, I'll talk to you later. See ya.